students, today our topic is chemical bonding. First we are learning what is a chemical bond. The force of attraction between two atoms or more than two atoms to form a molecule, that is called chemical bond. Suppose take this example, two atoms are there, A and B. There is a force of attraction between these two atoms to form the molecule. Okay, this force of attraction is called chemical bond. Here actually in chemical bond, first what is the reason for this bonding? What is the reason for this bonding is valence electrons. In atom, the valence electrons that present in outermost orbit, those are responsible for the chemical bond. Suppose if you take example of sodium, the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Here what is the valence electron? 1. There is only one electron in the outermost orbit. That electron is responsible for the chemical bonding. Okay. So in any chemical bond, the valence electrons are responsible for the bonding. Next we are learning about Lewis symbols or dot structures. Lewis proposed a structure to the atoms and he showed that outermost electrons or valence electrons with the dots or cross marks. Suppose take the example of sodium only. Sodium. He showed the valence electron with cross or with a dot. Suppose oxygen. Oxygen electron configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. How many electrons are there in the valence shell? 6. So he showed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like this with the dots or with the cross marks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this. So this is called Lewis symbols or dot structure. This helps how the bond will form with the valence electrons. Okay. The next theory was electronic theory of valence. Here valence electrons are responsible for the chemical bond. Already we learned. Why these valence electrons are responsible? That was explained by Courcelle and Lewis. Courcelle and Lewis explained electronic theory of valence. Here we can observe a chemical bond is formed. When a chemical bond is formed, then we can observe that atoms that are participating in the chemical bond will lose electrons or will gain electrons. Will lose electrons or will gain electrons. Why they are losing electrons or why they are gaining electrons? To get the stability. When they will lose electron or when they will gain electron, the atom is getting stability and this stability is due to 8 electrons in the valence shell. Suppose if you take noble gases, they are stable because they have 8 electrons in their valence shell. The number of valence electrons in the noble gases is 8. That's why noble gases are stable. So the remaining atoms also want this stability by getting 8 electrons in the valence shell. To get that stability, they are losing electrons or they are gaining electrons. So this is electronic theory of valence. And the atoms that they are trying to get 8 electrons in the valence shell, that is known as octet rule. That means atoms are undergoing some chemical change to get 8 electrons in the valence shell. Suppose take example of sodium 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. It is having 1 electron in the valence shell. If this electron is not there, it has 8 electrons in valence shell. So what it will do? It will lose this electron. By losing this electron, it changes to Na plus, E minus. This Na plus, when an atom loses electrons, it becomes cation, that is positively charged ion. Like this, sodium is getting 8 electrons in the valence shell. Okay. We are learning about chemical bonding. There are so many bonds. Due to the, depending upon the nature of the bond, they are divided into categories. What is the nature of the bond? That means some are forming due to sharing of electrons, some are forming due to transfer of electrons. Okay, like that. So first of all, we are seeing ionic bond. Ionic bond means the chemical bond which is formed due to transfer of electrons. Transfer of electrons means that means one atom is giving electron to the other atom. This is called transfer. Why it is giving? To get 8 electrons in the valence shell. One atom is giving electron to get 8 electrons in the valence shell. The other atom will take that electron to get 8 electrons in the atom, in the valence shell. That means here atoms are trying to get stability by getting 8 electrons in the valency. Okay. See, for suppose example, take sodium. Sodium atomic number is 11. Electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Here it is having 1 electron extra to get the stability. So here what the sodium will do? It gives 1 electron and changes into positively charged ion. This positively charged ion is called cation. Here what electron is given by the sodium will taken by the chlorine. Here see the chlorine configurations. Chlorine atomic number is 17. Electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. So it need one more electron. Here 2 plus 5, 7 electrons are there. So to get octet rule, it need one more electron. This electron will taken from the sodium. So Cl take this electron and becomes negatively charged ion called anion. Positively charged ions are called cations. Negatively charged ions are called anions. See, coming to, by writing in Lewis dot structure, Na is having 1 electron in valence shell and chlorine is having 7 electrons. So this electron will transfer from sodium to chlorine and the bond will be formed. Na plus Cl minus gives rise to NaCl, sodium chloride. Like this we can explain ionic bond. Once again I am explaining, ionic bond will form due to transfer of electrons. Sodium is having 1 electron extra to get the octet rule. So it will give electron and becomes cation which is stable. And Cl is need one electron to get octet rule. So it will take that electron and becomes anion. This Na plus and Cl minus combine to form NaCl. In this way, the other examples for ionic bond is MgCl2, AlCl3, magnesium chloride, aluminum chloride. These are all formed due to ionic bond only. Okay. The next concept is coordination number. Coordination number means suppose if you take a positive charge ion, the number of oppositely charged ions that are surrounded by the positively charged ion is called coordination number. Suppose if you take, before example, NaCl, the structure of NaCl is a crystal. It has crystal structure. Suppose if you observe the structure, if a sodium ion is surrounded by chlorine ions, a cation is surrounded by anions. With how many number of anions it is surrounded, that number is called coordination number. Here it is surrounded with 6 anions. So the coordination number of sodium in sodium chloride is 6 and vice versa. So each chlorine also surrounded by 6 sodium ions. Okay. So the coordination number is called 6. Okay. The next one. factors affecting formation of ions. Here, if you observe NaCl, Na is changing into cation, chlorine is changing into anion. That means sodium is losing electrons, whereas chlorine is gaining electrons. What are the factors that affect the formation of cation and anion is atomic size, ionization energy, electron affinity and electronegativity. These four are the factors that affect the formation of ions. Simply if you will say, all the metals will lose electrons. All the metals like sodium, magnesium, aluminium, these will lose electrons and becomes positively charged cations. All the non-metals like oxygen, fluorine, these are chlorine, these are all non-metals. These will gain electrons and become negatively charged anions. That means, so metals forms cations, whereas non-metals forms as anions. Okay, and these four are the main factors that affect the formation of the ions. Suppose if ionization energy and electron affinity are very less for the metals, that's why they lose electrons easily and they form as cations. Okay. After ionic bond, we are going to learn about covalent bond. Covalent bond is explained by Lewis. What is covalent bond? Ionic bond, we learned that ionic bond is formed due to transfer of electrons, whereas covalent bond is formed due to sharing of electrons. They share the electron. So let it be explained by with one example. Take example of fluorine. Fluorine atomic number is 9. So its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. So to get the octet, to get 8 electrons in the valence shell, it need one more electrons. Here how many electrons are there? 2 plus 5, 7. So it need one more electron. So suppose write dot structure for the fluorine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take one more fluorine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here they will share this one single electron and they form the bond. Suppose how they form? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. If you observe this one, it is having 8 electrons. If you observe this one, it is having 8 electrons. That means they share the electron. They share the electron and form the bond. How many electrons they are sharing? One electron. So a single bond will be formed between fluorine and fluorine. Okay. Suppose take example of oxygen. Atomic number 8. 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. It is having 6 electrons in the valence shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And another oxygen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will share 2 electrons. It will share 2 electrons. So there is a double bond between oxygen and oxygen. Suppose if you take example of nitrogen, they will share 3 electrons. 3 electrons. So there is a triple bond. Okay. Like that, atoms are sharing electrons and forming the molecule. So the bond that is formed due to sharing of electrons is known as covalent bond. Okay. Now the concept is bond length. Suppose a chemical bond is formed between two atoms. The distance between the nuclei is known as bond length. The distance between these two nucleus, suppose there is two atoms A and B. A bond is formed. The distance between these two nuclei is known as bond length. Suppose HH, the bond length will be some. And fluorine, the bond length. Why the bond length is expressed in astronomical units. Bond length is expressed in astronomic units or nanometers. Bond length is expressed in angstrom units or nanometers. And fluorine bond length is 1.44 angstrom units. Okay, sorry, before I said and now the bond length is expressed in angstrom units. Okay, and nanometers also we can explain. In nanometers also we can explain. 1 nanometer equal to 10 power minus 9 meters, or 1 angstrom unit is equal to 10 power minus 10 meters. Okay, here the values are given. The bond length between hydrogen and hydrogen is 0.74 angstrom units, and the bond length between fluorine and fluorine is 1.44 angstrom units. Okay, next one, bond energy. Suppose take example of F2. Fluorine molecule is formed with single bond. If you want to break this bond, we need some energy. That energy is called bond energy or bond dissociation energy. Okay, this bond energy for fluorine is 159 kilocalories. That means if you need 159 kilocalories of energy to break the molecule. Suppose if you take example of hydrogen, it is nearly 436 kilocalories. It is nearly 436 kilocalories. So to break the bond between hydrogen and hydrogen, you need 436 kilocalories of energy. Okay, this is about bond length and bond energy. But here this theory it could not explain why the values are different. Suppose here between hydrogen and hydrogen there is single bond, fluorine and fluorine there is a single bond, but this theory could not explain why the bond energies are different whereas same number of electrons are shared. Okay, and in the same way, with the same number of electrons are shared, why we need different types of energies to break the molecule. So this bond length concept and bond energy concepts couldn't explain by this theory of valence. Okay, and we are getting some bond angles. Suppose BeCl2 180 degrees, BF3 bond angle is 120 degrees like this. But this theory failed to explain why we are getting bond angles. Okay, these are the main drawbacks of this theory. The next theory is VSEPRT. VSEPRT means valence shell electron pair repulsion theory. Valence shell electron pair repulsion theory. This theory was explained by Sidgwick and Powell. What are the concepts that are not explained by the electronic valence theory? Those are explained by this theory. That means especially about bond angles. Explained about bond angles. Here they told that the lone pair of electrons on the central atom, the lone pair of electrons that are present on the central atom, they have some force of repulsion. This force of repulsion on the central atom is responsible for the bond angle. They told the lone pair of electrons that are present on the central atom are responsible for the bond angle. Okay, first of all take example of barium chloride. Barium chloride is linear. That means the bond angle is 180 degrees. Why it is linear? If you take beryllium, it has two paired electrons. That means two bond pairs are there. But there are no lone pairs on the central atom. There are no lone paired electrons on the central atom. So they are linear. There is no repulsion. So that is linear. So the bond angle is 180 degrees. The same thing in boron also. Boron also not having lone pair of electrons on the central atom. So they are equally distributed with 120 degrees angle. So the bond angle is BF, boron trifluoride, is 120 degrees. If you come to example of methane, CH4, here if you observe, these three hydrogen atoms will be closer comparing to the fourth one, because here there is lone pair of electron in this in this carbon. This lone pair of electron is causing more repulsion and it will be more bond angle like 109 degrees 28 minutes. Once again I am explaining, there are three bond pairs and one lone pair, one unshared lone pair. This lone pair occupies more space. That's why these three will come closer, whereas the fourth one will go far. Okay. Next example is ammonia. Ammonia formula NH3. If you observe the structure, ammonia will have one lone pair electrons. Due to this lone pair, the other hydrogen atom will go far comparing other two. So the bond angle is 107 degrees 48 minutes. 107 degrees 48 minutes. So this force of repulsion is due to presence of lone pair of electrons. Take example of water. Here on oxygen, two lone pairs of electrons are there. Two bond pairs and two lone pairs. So this repulsion will cause a V shape to this atom. And the bond angle is 104 degrees 31 minutes. Here in this way, this theory explained the formation of bond angles in the molecules, and this theory mainly explained depending upon repulsion force of the lone pair electrons. The next theory is valence bond theory. This theory was explained by Pauling. Here he explained overlapping of orbitals. Overlapping of orbitals with electrons is formed due to opposite spin. Chemical bond is formed due to opposite spin. That means here H hydrogen, here it is 1s orbital, here 1s orbital. These two orbitals with these electrons are overlapping to form the bond. Here the electrons that are present in each atom having opposite spin. These opposite spin values are causing the bond. Okay. Here if overlapping is more, the bond will be stronger. If overlapping is less, the bond will be weak. So in this way he explained why the bond energies are different. From this we can understand that here the bond energy is more due to more overlap. In fluorine, bond energy is less due to weak overlap. The greater overlapping, the stronger the bond. In this way, valence bond theory explained the bond energies depending upon overlapping of orbitals with electrons. And suppose s orbitals are overlapping in the axis, they form sigma bonds. If suppose single bonds are there, they are all sigma bonds. Suppose multiple bonds, like that oxygen, it is having double bond. In this multiple bonds, there are two bonds are present. One is sigma bond, another one is pi bond. What is sigma bond? The bond that are formed overlapping along the axis. Overlapping along the axis is called sigma bond. If overlapping is sidewise, then there is a pi bond. Here sigma bonds are stronger comparing to the pi bonds. Take one example of chlorine. Chlorine is formed due to single bond. Cl, Cl. There is a single bond. Suppose how this chlorine molecule is forming. Chlorine electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. So it needs only one electron to form the bond. Suppose it is 3p. It is having one electron, and another chlorine with 3p is having one electron with opposite spin. So there is a bond. Here the bond is forming between Cl and Cl. Okay. In this way we can explain the formation of Cl2 molecule. Suppose take example of hydrogen. In hydrogen there is one electron in 1s orbital, and chlorine need one more electron in 3pz orbital. Here there is overlapping of s and p orbitals. So there is the bond called sp bond, and the bond is single bond, that is sigma bond. Okay. Suppose take example of nitrogen. Nitrogen electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. In excited state it is 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1, and in another one also px1, py1, pz1. Here xx, px overlapping will form sigma bond, py overlapping will form pi bond, and pz overlapping also will form pi bond. That means there is a triple bond between nitrogen and nitrogen. One is sigma bond, whereas other two are pi bonds. Okay. The next concept is hybridization. Okay. It is very important, hybridization. What is hybridization? The phenomenon of intermixing of atomic orbitals to form the same number of orbitals but with equal properties like energy and shape. That means here the orbitals are combining to form new orbitals with the same energy and shape. Suppose take example of beryllium. Beryllium atomic number is 4. Electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2. In excited state, the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s1, 2px1. So it is having one s and one p lone pair of electrons. This s and p, one s and 2px orbitals will intermix and to form two identical sp orbitals. They form two identical sp orbitals. These sp orbitals will combine with the chlorine on each side. So here he is saying electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3px2, 3py2, 3pz1. So chlorine need only one electron. This one electron of 3pz overlap with the sp orbitals of each chlorine and form the bond like this. This is beryllium, this is chlorine, and this is chlorine. In this way the bond will be formed with the opposite spins, and the angle is 180 degrees because there are no lone pair of electrons on the beryllium. The angle is linear, so the angle will be 180 degrees. See, once again I am explaining. The orbitals with equal energy are combined to form new orbitals. Here one s and one p are combining. So this is called sp hybridization. The number of sp hybridization orbitals are 2. This sp2 orbitals are combining with each pz orbital in chlorine. Okay, and the bond will be formed in beryllium chloride. The next example we are taking boron trifluoride. If you observe electronic configuration of boron 1s2, 2s2, 2p1 with atomic number 5. In excited state it becomes 1s2, 2s1, 2px1, 2py1. So how many unpaired electrons are there? 3. 1s and 2p. These 3 will remix and form 3 sp2 orbitals. 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals. These 3 sp2 orbitals form the bond. See, with fluorine, fluorine atomic number 9, 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. In excited state it becomes 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2p2, 2pz1. So there is only one unpaired electron. This one unpaired electron will combine with one sp2 hybrid orbital. So we need 3 fluorine. 3 fluorines will form 3 p sp2 overlap and form the bond. See here, this is boron, this is fluorine. Because there are 3 unpaired orbitals, we need 3 fluorines to form the bond. In this way, the bond will be formed and the bond angle is 120 degrees. In this way, we can explain the formation of the bonds and bond angles with the concept of hybridization. So, at last, we learnt about ionic bond and covalent bond. The substances that are formed due to ionic bond are called ionic compounds, and the substances that are formed due to formation of covalent bond are called covalent bonds. If you observe the differences between these two, ionic compounds and covalent compounds, these are solids. Ionic compounds are solids, whereas covalent substances are mainly gases. Here, not only solids, they perform a crystalline structure. Ionic compounds perform crystalline structure. Whereas melting point and boiling point of ionic compounds are very high compared to the melting point and boiling points of the covalent compounds. Okay. And coming to very important one, solubility. Ionic compounds soluble in water. But covalent compounds doesn't soluble in water. Because here, suppose take example of ionic compound sodium chloride. That is, we are using salt. Salt can be dissolved in water. Okay. So ionic compounds soluble in water and covalent compounds doesn't soluble in water. They soluble in only non-polar solvents. They are soluble in non-polar solvents. Here water is a polar solvent. They are soluble in non-polar solvents. Okay. These are the main differences between ionic compounds and covalent compounds. Okay. Thank you very much, students. All the best for your exams.